Hey there, you guys. It's Central Arkansas EAS. I got a special treat for you here today. This is a vinyl LP album from my collection, but it's different. I'll explain why here in a minute. The album is Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, the full thing. The whole thing. And what's unique about this album is what it is made out of. You know, I call them vinyl records, but here's the thing. This album is different. If I was to take it out, you'd hear it. Well, some of you would hear it if you grew up on records. It's not made of vinyl. It's made of shellac. And shellac is a material that comes from a beetle, the body of a beetle, that they used in the early days of vinyl records, in the early days of record selling, rather, from about the 1890s all the way until the mid to late 1950s. However, by then, the 1950s, shellac records had already started to be phased out. That really started in 1949, but studios didn't completely stop using them until, if I remember correctly, 1955. So, one thing you will notice about this is the sound quality is greatly degraded, and it's because of the fact that it's a shellac record. Shellac records, one of the major complaints of people, especially when recordings became more sophisticated with more instruments, including drums and, saxophones and things, that they weren't the records themselves. They didn't sound the best. So, without further ado, let's go on with Moonlight Sonata by Ludwig van Beethoven. I love this. Got this LP, by the way, from my former piano/voice teacher. Shout out to Audrey, gotta say. She gave me this, and I have fallen in love with this piece ever since. Kind of helped me to rediscover classical music in a way. there you have it, a full Moonlight Sonata on a rare shellac recording. Before I go, though, I wanted to say I do have some fun facts about the Moonlight Sonata. First of all, the name Moonlight wasn't given to the piece until well after Beethoven died. Hence the erratic third movement that doesn't fit the slow mood of the rest of the piece. Another interesting fact is that this song, likely by a lot of interpretations, is basically pouring Beethoven's emotional struggles out into the pages of a classical piece. Now, why would I say that? At the time that Beethoven wrote this, he was extremely, extremely depressed because he was beginning to lose his hearing in both ears. Basically meaning that he thought his career in music would be over. And boy, was he wrong. Whew, so wrong. In fact, had it not been for his going deaf, we may not have had this piece. Next thing, the pianos back in those days. You know how in that third movement, Beethoven writes for the piano player to go all the way down to a low F. The first F up on the keyboard, if you're looking at a regular piano. Well, fun fact, that F, back in those days, was the second lowest note that a person could even play on a piano that was built in those days. Most modern day pianos go all the way down to a low A, which is really low. It doesn't even sound like an A to most people. However, back in the day of this writing, the pianos only went down to a low E, an E1. So, fun fact there. That's why those dramatic Fs and F sharps in the third movement are so crazy in terms of being just different and whatever. Beethoven in this sonata really, he used the entirety of the keyboard to the best of his ability on this one. Now, I know what you guys are also thinking. Didn't you say vinyl records are not supposed to sound crackly and poppy and staticky? Yes, I did. And that is still the case. Most records are not supposed to sound that way if you maintain them. However, shellac records, this is another problem with shellac records, they tend to, just by nature, sound uglier, more crackly, nastier than, say, a clean vinyl disc. If this thing had been on a vinyl disc, we wouldn't have had all those pops, those clicks, those bumps, as we call them, you know, those scratches, everything. We wouldn't have had that. But shellac tends to sound worse. And yes, there are special cartridges and turntables available if you do end up buying a 78 revolutions per minute shellac record. Don't make the mistake, like I did, of playing a 78 RPM record with a normal stylus. Why? You will ruin your needle. I am just saying that out loud. You will ruin your stylus and it will definitely not sound the same. I am just putting that out there. Again, they do make special cartridges for specifically 78 revolution per minute vinyl, because the reason a normal stylus doesn't work is the grooves on a 78 RPM record are too wide. Yeah, they're too wide for a normal needle to fit properly inside. So basically, that record is carving up your needle like a steak knife on cold butter. You know, that's pretty much what it is. So there you have it. Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata, plus some interesting history behind that, and also I might later come back with an update on this, because I don't even know the history of this recording, how rare it is, when it even came out. Because if I figure this out, I will likely come back and provide with an update video on it and link the original in the description. So, yeah, stay tuned for that one, y'all. Can't wait.